I just noticed because somebody pointed it out that Hereditary is not available on Tubi anymore. Tubi, why? Why? Put it back! Hello, and welcome back to me screaming into the void. Yes, we're talking about those darn kids again. I did a video a couple of months ago that was called The Kids Are Not Alright, Kids versus Monsters. And I wanted to do a part 2 that is Psycho Edition, because kids can be very scary, especially in horror movies. The rules are the following. We have no college kids because, let's be honest, those aren't kids. No ghosties, no franchises or duologies, no possessions, no Halloween themes because that's going to be a separate one. And it's going to be from the 2000s onwards. I do not want to hear it. I am aware of the 70s and 80s. They exist. I have watched the movies. I know that there is creepy kids out there too. I will make another one of these, okay? There is only 6 movies on this list because I couldn't get myself to watch any more of these because yes, I actually watch all these movies before making these videos. 1, as a refresher, and 2, to check if I still like these movies. Sometimes I don't. How many did I watch this time? I think I watched. Wait, let me go on my Letterboxd. If you don't follow me on Letterboxd, wait, I keep forgetting it's on the other side. If you don't follow me on Letterboxd, feel free to follow me. I watch movies almost every day. I know this list contains 6 movies, but I watched 10 of them and realized I can't talk about 4 of them because they were kind of meh, or I wanted to keep them for another time, another space, continuum. These are 6 movies that I personally enjoyed. Before we dive in, I would like to preface this by saying, fair warning, these films feature violent, disturbing child characters, often exploring psychological issues, trauma, and unsettling family dynamics. If you're a parent and this hits close to home, you might want to skip this video. Also, if you've had a not too nice upbringing and you get triggered by certain things and ways that parents could behave with kids, I also don't think you should watch this video. Let's talk about Psycho Kids, from least scary, in my opinion, to most scary. Not in a realistic way, more like if all of this took place in real life, this is how scared I would be of them. And I mean, the scared scala starts pretty high already with the lowest movie. They are all bad. First movie we're talking about, The Boy, 2015, directed by Craig William McNeil, who also directed Channel Zero, the first season, Candle Cove. Highly recommend. If you're not into teeth, maybe skip it. And the episode in the series Monsterland called New Orleans, Louisiana. The cast consists of Jared Breeze, who plays the kid, Ted, David Morse, who plays his dad, and Rainn Wilson, who plays an unsuspecting car driver who hits a deer right outside the motel. The blurb is that Ted, who's 9 years old, is raised in isolation in a failing motel and becomes more and more obsessed with death. Why is the kid a psycho? Ted is emotionally neglected and socially isolated on this failing motel, and his dad is not exactly primed to do dad things, as you will notice. He keeps him very much busy by telling him to clean the motel rooms, feed the chickens, and gives his kid pretty much a hobby of collecting roadkill, and he gives him money for that. You know, why would you give your child this hobby, especially if he's already having psychopathic tendencies? Way. And you notice early on that this kid has a fascination with dead animals. He even lures a deer onto the road, which is why Rainn Wilson's character then gets into this car accident. It was night, it was raining, the deer came onto the road because he had spread some cookies or something. The car came and, you know, things happened. He has an emotionally distant dad. He has no peers, no adult figures, no kids he can play with. And that one kid he did play with walked away very quickly. He goes from collecting roadkill to killing animals to then the final act of snuffing out humans. For those of you who have watched it, you know exactly where this is going with the horns that he puts on. It's such a well-made scene. He is pretty much the product of I guess, already having these tendencies in him, but also of this environmental and emotional pressure that he's dealing with from the outside without any supernatural elements. Why I'm mentioning this? Because you will see as we go along that there will be supernatural elements coming to play in the next movies. The tagline of this movie is "Evil always begins somewhere." In this case, a 9-year-old boy. I have two scenes that very much remained in my mind. On one hand, it's the one in the pool where he first playfully has a play date with a boy, but then proceeds to first jokingly shove him underwater and then keeping him there. Nothing happens, luckily. I guess the other boy kind of realizes that this kid is not exactly a nice person and he just quietly walks away. Which, I'm like, good for you. I don't know where this would have ended if the boy didn't just, remove himself from the situation. And the second one is definitely the fire scene. This whole movie is very slow burn. It's not the kind of slow burn where you're waiting for something to happen. It's more the kind of slow burn where you keep gradually seeing small things that make the whole situation worse and worse and worse. The people surrounding this boy are also not exactly the nicest people to have around. I feel like this is a little bit nature versus nurture. It's not available on Tubi. It is available on Hulu. For me, it's the least scary of the lot because it's a 9-year-old kid who is a roadside kill sociopath and a what do you call them? Pyromaniac? I guess. Are they called pyromaniacs? Fire starter. And he's in the middle of nowhere, so pretty distant. Next movie we're talking about. We need to talk about Kevin, 2011. Director Lynn Ramsey, who also directed You Were Never Really Here. Loved Joaquin Phoenix, loved the movie. She's very much into emotional, psychological slow burns. This movie is also considered a slow burn, but I feel like with all the things that are happening throughout and us seeing the movie in a non-linear way, it keeps up the ante all the time because there is like this mounting pressure. You keep having flashbacks, flash forwards, and the whole story is told through the mother's very fractured point of view. The cast, Tilda Swinton as mother, she plays her so well. Tilda Swinton just has this affinity to be very nuanced in her roles. I also liked her a lot in The Dead Never Die. Then we have one actor who is like, no, but he fits the role perfectly because you will see. Ezra Miller. I'm aware. I am very aware. However, I feel like one actor doth not spoil the entire broth because I am very much of the opinion that every movie involves hundreds of people. So, bearing that in mind, if you acknowledge that this person who's in this movie or made the movie or was part of the movie or financed the movie is a POS, you can also watch the movie and enjoy it as something. I don't think much of cancel culture. I more believe in jail time. And we have John C. Reilly playing the dad. Yay! He is so good. He is so sweet and so soft and so caring. I love it. The movie is about Eva, a former travel writer who now lives alone and works near a prison where she visits her son Kevin, who is incarcerated for, slight spoiler, this is the only spoiler in the entirety of the video, mass school shooting. Already from the get-go, you realize this movie is a doozy. It's very heavy. Why Kevin is a psycho? Well, let me tell you. It's a disturbing mix of malice and the effects of maternal detachment. You keep asking yourself the question, is the child an ass? Or is the mother at fault? Or is it both? The nature versus nurture debate is unresolved because I don't really believe you can ever say fully if it is the effects of one or the other, or if they trigger each other. You know, it's nice and cool to say after something happened with the child, oh, it must have been the mom, or oh my god, the kid was damned from the beginning. You don't know that. I don't know that. Unless you didn't live in the child's brain, you will never know that. I like that the movie leaves you questioning, is Kevin born evil or is he the product of Ava's emotional distance and resentment? He exhibits bad behavior from early childhood. However, the signs of the struggles that Ava had being a mother were already there early on, and her lack of warmth might have also contributed to his development. There is a couple of scenes where even I flinched and was like, oh, well, the dad, however, is more of this very warm breeze that keeps coming into this cold atmosphere, and he keeps trying to say, hey, he's just a kid, and then there is a little sister involved. The ending is absolutely horrible. I was not okay. This movie is not something that you want to watch twice, and yet here I am, and I watched it twice, and I'm not happy about it. The director confirmed that she leaned into ambiguity rather than giving a definitive answer because she wanted the viewers to ask this question: evil born or evil made? The tagline of this movie is, this conversation is long overdue. My favorite scene is the very first scene at the Tomatina festival in Spain. It had a mix of different things that pretty much encapsulates the entire movie. It sets the tone for all of it. You have the Tomatina festival, you have her bathing in these tomatoes. If you don't know what it is, in Spain there is this crazy festival where people throw tomatoes at each other and then start bathing in them, and it's pretty wild, and I would never do that. The director had this brilliantly what the heck idea to go to the actual festival and film the scene at the festival with Tilda Swinton and hundreds of extras involved. She said Tilda Swinton was really cool about it, but she herself, the director, got shoved against a door in the heat of the kerfuffle, and they had exactly 20 minutes to shoot it, which anybody who is in this business knows that is insane. And yet it was the most effective scene. In the background, if you don't know, you won't notice, but there is this people cheering at the festival itself, and she inserted in the background the screams of the students at the mass shooting. And when you watch it a couple of times, it is very unsettling. It's available on Tubi, and I swear it is because I watched it today. And why is the second least scary? It's scarier than the psychopath boy because the psychopath boy, he like chooses his victims kind of a thing, I hope. Unless he becomes a pyromaniac, then he's gonna start burning buildings and maybe killing off more people than a mass shooter. Questions arise in these kind of moments. He is behind bars in this movie and hopefully will stay there. Next movie, Eden Lake, 2008. Director James Watkins. The same guy who did The Woman in Black and Black Mirror Shut Up and Dance. Both I really enjoyed. And we shall not talk about the remake of Speak No Evil because I have already talked about it and told you my opinion on it. I don't like it. I will keep repeating it. I don't like it. Blumhouse. No. Stop it. Cast: Kelly Riley as Jenny and Michael Fassbender as the boyfriend. I don't remember his name. The blurb is a romantic weekend escape becomes a nightmare when a group of teens attacks a couple in the woods. A modern take on rural anxiety and escalating violence. Why are these kids psycho? Well, I'm glad you asked. There is like a mix of things why these kids act all psychotic. But on one hand, there is like a bunch of budding teenagers who find a couple that comes from an urban background and they're rich and a bit classist, let's be honest. And then you have these kids who are raised in this rural area with parents who work at pubs and at farms and stuff. So there is already this disparity. Me living in a rural area right now, I am very aware of the fact that there is always going to be a them versus them. I feel like I don't fit anywhere, so I watch it from afar and hope that they don't interpret me neither as one or the other. Back to why they're psycho. There is peer pressure. You will see that from the bullies. There is a lack of consequence because there is no grown-ups looking after these kids. And the terrible, terrible influence from their parents themselves. Guess what? The parents are definitely at fault in this one, who are ultimately, by the way, shown to be worse. They're trying to actually just enjoy the lake, and the kids are being annoying on purpose, playing loud music and other stuff, and Michael Fassbender's character thinks it's a good idea to tell these youths to not do that. And I'm like, why don't you just pack up your shit and move somewhere else? Sir, why? Would it be me, I would just pick up my stuff and go somewhere else. That's it. The whole movie could have been avoided if they would have just not been... You know what he says? You know what Fassbender tells his girlfriend? Why they have to stay? We were here first. Sir. That's not how you resolve teenage conflict. You were here first has never worked on anyone. I would highly suggest for you personally, watching me right now, if you're a grown-up wanting to enjoy the lakeside and there is a bunch of kids listening to too loud music and looking like they could stir up trouble and you're getting disturbed by their music, just pack up your stuff and leave. Right then and there. And don't circle back and do stuff. I'm harping on this because this whole thing could have been avoided. You clearly see that there is peer pressure going on. Even the bully, at some point, he tells somebody else to light the fire. It's like an initiation. Yes, there is a fire. People die. Obviously, they do. This movie is horrible. It takes a nosedive at some point and there is just no going back. Even when you think that you have reached the end and it couldn't get worse than this, guess what? It gets worse. I'm smiling through the pain, but it gets way worse. So you have these kids and they do stuff and there is fires and there is knives and there is stabbings and there is... And very much in the end, when Jenny thinks that she has finally reached greener grass and everything should be all right, the parents make it worse. Even the director said this movie very much depicts that the rot lies at home. It's not just the social environment, it's definitely also the parental guidance or misguidance, and it's a critique on violent upbringing, learned behavior, and social indifference. It's not just bad kids. The tagline of this movie is "A weekend by the lake with views to die for." The scene that affected me the most was definitely when she wakes up and they light the fire. It's harrowing and even the kids are uncomfortable. You have one kid actually being forced to film it by the bully. It's a whole mess. It's available on Tubi. I watched it 2 days ago, so it has to be. It's the third worst because it's delinquent kids in England, kind of far away from me. So still not too bad, but since there is a bunch of them, I'm slightly more scared. Next movie, The Children, 2008. Directed by Tom Shankland, who also directed Waz. I found Waz a bit weird, but I did like The Children. It very much instilled in me already at that time that that is not a wish I have, to have children. And the parents are annoying AF. You have Eva Berthistel? Berthistel? God damn it. Eva Berthistel as one of the mothers, Hannah Toynton as the teenager of Eva Berthistel. Oh my god, I'm not gonna say her name anymore. And Stephen Campbell Moore as one of the dads, the most annoying of the lot. I think there's 2 dads, 2 moms, 1 teenage daughter, and around 4 to 5 kids. I lost count. At some points, they were just teeny tiny meanies just running around. The blurb of the story is that during a New Year's Eve family gathering at a remote country house in England, a mysterious illness turns children to homicidal predators. And the teenage girl is the only one who notices it while their parents run around obliviously ignoring the danger and being like, oh, that's just sick. Why are these kids psycho? Well, let me tell you, it's viral. So something contagious turns the children feral, giving them a hive mind-like instinct. You even see throughout the movie, there is like nothing creepier than these small, little, teeny-weeny, big-eyed, cute little kids just staring at each other and plotting silently the demise of each and every adult in the room or on a sled or under a sled. The film never explicitly names the illness, but there is clear behavior of contagion. There is coughing, there is phlegma, there is so much disgusting phlegma, just, this is gross. There is fever, there is vomiting, erratic behavior, and full-on rage. I mean, one of the kids is like, once turned, the infected kids coordinate their attacks silently, often working together in eerie, synchronized ways. Oh, it's so painful. There is this one teeny tiny girl, big, I think blue eyes, the violet hat with the flowers in them. Mommy, mommy. That is like their favorite sentence. They see their parents and like, Daddy. They're British, so, Daddy, help me. She's hurting me. And the worst part is these parents are just blind to the fact that their small little children are completely psychotic, wielding arms, and you can literally see them sometimes standing with the knife in their hands, and the parents are like, no, they're just sick. And I'm like, no, they're creepy AF. I would have left a long time ago and just let those kids fend for themselves. The tagline of this movie is, you brought them into this world, now they will take you out. The best scene, in my opinion, is a mother who finally finds her children in the snow, and the little girl, that creepy girl, embraces her, and the boy is just eyeing her earring and then tugs at it. And then there is a pencil involved. Will I tell you more? No. It's sadly not available anywhere. I have the DVD somewhere here. And it's one of the scarier movies because it's a bunch of wild, infected, hive mind-driven kids. Next movie, Cooties, 2014. Anybody who has been here long enough knows I like cooties. There's just something about horror comedies that just makes me happy. It's directed by Jonathan Millet and Carrie Murnion, the same people who directed Boy Kills World. Love that movie too. You have Elijah Wood as a substitute principal, Rainn Wilson back again as a gym teacher, and Alison Pill as a teacher. The blurb of the movie is that a tainted batch of chicken nuggets, out of all the things, they chose chicken nuggets, and I love it, unleashes a virus that turns school children into rabid zombies. A group of teachers must battle their bloodthirsty students. Why are the kids psycho? Well, the virus turns them into sprinting, shrieking, rage-fueled, teeny tiny zombies. Think 28 days later? That kind of speed? But pint-sized and way messier. The outbreak starts with contaminated chicken nuggets served at the school cafeteria, but spreads through scratches, bites, and any schoolyard shenanigans that involve breaking skin. The infected kids move quickly, attack violently, and show pack aggression. The practical effects are over the top. The kills are amazing. I highly recommend it if you're into splatter and gore. This movie just doesn't take itself too seriously. The tagline is, please don't feed the children, which is very fitting for this movie. And the best two scenes that I liked was, on one hand, the backyard gory playground scene. For those who have watched it, you know, where they use human body parts as playthings. It was so funny. You had one, you know, these things with the poles and the ball that is tied to a rope. Instead of the ball tied to a rope, they had a human head tied to the rope and were playing with it and laughing. And the second scene was that Thunderdome battle where Rainn Wilson is spreading something that, I quote, "It ain't water." And when he leaves, he says, "Nap time, emming effers." It's available on Tubi. It is one of the most scary, not yet the scariest, because we're getting to that one, because it's a whole country filled with little rabid kids. You think those chicken nuggets were only sent to one school? Last movie, Brightburn, 2019, directed by David Yarovesky, who also directed Locked. I like that movie a lot. If you haven't watched my review on it, you may do so. I talk about it here. Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins are in it, and it's produced by James Gunn. One of my favorite directors. I like his movies. I have been a longtime fan of his. It has Elizabeth Banks as the mother, Jackson A. Dunn as the Superman villain origins child, and David Denman as the dad. The blurb is, what if Superman was evil instead of good? When a Kansas couple adopts a child from outer space, they raise him as their own until he begins to use his powers to terrorize the town. And yes, he also arrives in a pod as a baby, and yes, you still have that loving couple who takes him in. And now we get into why this child is psychotic. The combination of alien biology, a manipulative spaceship calling to him, and the chaos of puberty turned Brandon into a supervillain, resembling one-to-one the Superman origin story, but with a very dark twist. His powers are the same. He can fly, he has super strength, he has laser vision, and is invulnerable. The spaceship he comes in has very much a malevolent consciousness and calls to him from afar, and him discovering that he has superpowers while becoming a teenager and going through his awkward phase is not doing him any favors. He is also the weird kid at school and kind of low-key gets bullied, but since he has superpowers, those bullies get it back threefold. The ship calls him telepathically, urging him to take over the world, which, fun times. For anyone who has seen the new Superman, I'm not going to say anything, I don't want to spoil it too much. Just go watch the new Superman, then we can talk about it. And this external influence is one of the key motivators behind his violent actions beyond just his natural behavior. The movie makes it very clear that Brandon is going through puberty and that these two things coincide and are fueling his confusion. It's literally amplifying his darker impulses, and his inability to control his powers leads to bloodshed. Again, you have this thing where he's not just straightforward an evil kid, it's also outside influences and going through puberty that make him that way. The tagline, he's not here to save the world. And I have a bunch of favorite scenes. There is the diner scene with the eye. Anybody who knows James Gunn knows that he, like Raimi, likes his eyes. I mean, in Superman, there is literally somebody punching an alien eye. In Suicide Squad, we also have the eye in that giant starfish thingy. Eyes just seem to be a thing with certain directors. Then you have the pickup truck scene at night, where he is floating in front of the dude, and the dude is like, nope. And the kid is like, oh, yes. And then he lifts up the truck and he drops the truck. And this scene is jaw-droppingly awesome. For those who have seen the movie, you know exactly what I mean. It's available on Prime and Hulu, sadly not for free on Tubi. It's the scariest of them all because it's literally Superman as a villain origin story. Do we need more? I don't think so. And on this horrible doozy, still feeling good about kids? Still want to have some kids? Whether they are calculating sociopaths, zombie hive minds, or evil with tiny hands, these movies prove horror doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it throws a tantrum and goes to sleep with a teddy bear. This is part 2 of The Kids Are Not Alright. I know I skipped a few classics and oddballs, but don't worry, I've got a part 3 already screaming in the basement. If you want to be part of the void, just follow my screams and subscribe for future unhinged madness, and let me know in the comments which little monsters messed you up the most. If you have other movies you want me to talk about, feel free to let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Now go call your mom. Bye!